requested by the NBA Threads community. We had to do an emergency pod, talk about, of course, this man, Adrian Griffin, being fired. We got the stop and pop. We got the mayor in the building. Y'all know we got to have a mayor on. And then you got Bench Mob ENT in the building, straight collab. This shows y'all. This is how great the community is. We ain't got to compete. We all together. Everybody eats, B. Everybody eats.
What's going on, guys? What's going
on? Just another crazy day in the NBA. Another crazy 24 hours.
Mm-hmm. Crazy day indeed. Because I was not expecting. We just literally like maybe a half an hour before it happened was just still talking about Kyle Lowry, BBL Kyle Lowry is now in Charlotte. You guys. We trying to figure out where he going because he's not going to stay in Charlotte. You got Scary Terry in Miami with Jimmy and Bam. And then I go back in the app. And then the mayor done posted, Jared done posted, Adrian Griffin been fired. What was y'all initial reaction when y'all saw this man don't have a job?
Mine was just like, wow. All right. Like you look at everything, 30-13, second in the Eastern Conference that just won 2 straight. I think they have the second best conference record in the East. Obviously, you've got Giannis, you've got Dame. So on paper, right, there's nothing more you could ask for. But when you start digging in and then you start looking at past things like Giannis press conferences, and then the Shams report came out shortly after they broke the news, you realize that a lot of what was happening wasn't really, it was beneath the surface. And it was like relationships and things. And I guess ultimately what did it, man, is that the players didn't buy in. But, we all found that out afterward. At least people who don't follow the team closely, like I'm sure maybe some local beat writers knew, but like people like us, I'm assuming, I was like, damn, this dude, first year coach, 30-13, 43 games in, and he lost his job. It was just wild. And the reaction on Threads was for the most part the same, but at least that was my experience.
For me, I kind of felt like, when you do something bad when you was a kid and your parents let it slide and you keep doing stuff bad and eventually 3 months later they catch up and you get this big butt whooping and they mention all the stuff that they let slide. That's what I felt was happening with this, because I feel it was on the rocks. I didn't know this man was going to get fired, but it was on the rocks when the whole Bobby Portis, and big-eyed Bobby Portis, they said when it smoked with him in the locker room. That's a little bit, you don't want smoke with Bobby Portis. Not Adrian Griffin. You don't want that smoke. So it was kind of, I had an idea, maybe not this early, but his job was on the hot seat from that point. Bobby Portis had the issue. Then he actually came out and called out Giannis. He said, Giannis, when you driving in, it's a lot of people open, my guy. Kick the rock. You got teammates. I don't know how Giannis took that. We don't know. Again, probably the beat writers know, but I'm like, all right, coach calling out the star. He then calls him out another game after that, Giannis and Dame. Y'all don't bring defense. Y'all don't bring that intensity every single night on the defensive side. And then for me, I've always been questioning this whole year, and I was talking to Freak Time about it, like, their defense is kind of like, if I had to describe their defense, they're like the Oprah of defense in the NBA. You get a bucket. You get a bucket. You get a bucket. You get a bucket. We all getting buckets. As a matter of fact, I take a turn. If we let you score, can we score? That's how they've been playing defense. And that's where I'm like, ultimately, I didn't think they would win, though, because when it came down to it, if they're not getting stops, normally it was a top 5 defense with Bud.
Yeah.
They ain't been a top 5 defense this year. So that was always my concern. Anyhow, like, maybe he don't get fired, but they're not winning this year because that defense is appalling.
Yeah, I think honestly, when I was reading a report on Bleacher Report, that the GM and the assistant GM was observing practices and shoot-arounds for them, and for like a week and a half before today, and maybe something happened during practice. I did read the report, basically how he called them out about their defense and their driving and kick game. And it was actually after the loss to Indiana during the in-season tournament, where they basically he held a meeting with Giannis, Dame, Khris Middleton, and Brook Lopez to basically, kind of air the whatever they need to say to each other. Basically, sacrifices had to be met, all those things. So maybe kind of molded over wrong with them, and maybe Giannis had to make that call and get him out of there. But who knows?
I mean, y'all told me what you think with this too. Like, obviously, I think it had to be Giannis and Dame had to approve this, obviously, and have some conversations. I don't know if Dame even ever got over that he fired his coach that used to be there. Before the season even started, his coach over in Portland.
Terry Stotts,
yeah.
Terry Stotts. I think Terry Stotts was brought over to help the team in general, obviously, but also it did help that Dame was there.
Yeah.
You get rid of Terry Stotts. This is your first head coaching job. You don't have a lot of veteran leadership on the coaching staff with you. I don't know. I don't think this started off well from him from jump, and he probably maybe doesn't take this job if he finds out that he's going to get Dame, because
but Terry Stotts was assistant coach for the Bucks earlier in the season.
Yeah. So one thing that got called out in the Shams report that kind of started everything was, I think it was preseason, because Terry Stotts quit, I think, before the last preseason game.
Yeah.
They had broke for practice, and I think Adrian Griffin wanted to talk to the assistant coaches and had the players go do their skill development or whatever. But Terry Stotts was trying to go talk to Dame and Giannis, and Adrian Griffin called him out twice, kind of yelling at your little kid, didn't I tell you to get over it? So that, obviously was in front of the players, and, obviously it's embarrassing and it makes things a little uncomfortable. And so I think a lot of what got called out was just their dynamic. They just were never able to mesh. And, you figure Terry Stotts, 13-year, NBA head coach, working under a first-year head coach. NBA, just like most professional sports, a lot of it's about relationships, right? And even though you're the head guy, you're still a rookie, right? As a coach. So if Adrian Griffin didn't handle that relationship well, that could have been a point where Terry Stotts didn't really feel welcome. He's like, you know what, I don't need this. So I think Shams called that out as really the first domino to fall. And then, you look at the fact that the defense has been suffering. They haven't been the same on defense. They haven't really found a way to work Dame in where he and Giannis are working in unison. It's kind of like they're working in spite of each other. They just both happen to be on the same team, but they're not really working together. And Dame's shooting percentages are down. So, he's a dynamic player. So when you're talking about he had a 33% usage rate in Portland, and now it's down to 25, 26. It's going to take him some time to kind of get into the flow of things. So it just seems as I'm reading things and listening to Freak Time, who obviously follows the Bucks, there was just a lot of stuff going on that I wasn't even aware of. But still, we're still winning. So it's still just crazy that he woke up today and was probably told that he didn't have a job anymore. But hopefully, he can get another gig. But yeah, it's just crazy. I'm still shocked. I still can't believe that he's gone because they've been doing well. Well, record wise at least.
Did y'all see the report about supposedly Doc Rivers was kind of mentoring Adrian Griffin, and now all of a sudden he's a candidate for the coaching job? Listen, Glenn Rivers.
Doc Rivers to me is the Mike Tomlin of the NBA. Doc Rivers hasn't had a losing season since 2007.
Oh my God.
But outside of 2008, when he got that ring, ain't been no playoff success. You have winning seasons, just like Mike Tomlin. You got winning seasons, but you haven't had any playoff success as of late. And far as I know, I thought the NBA, sports, and, in most relationships in life, outside of probably marriage, which, you let me know, Dave, if I'm right in this, outside of marriage, it's kind of what have you done for me lately? And what has Doc Rivers done lately that has proven and given him to be one of the top candidates on this list of coaches because I saw it was Doc, Van Gundy, and
Atkinson, Kenny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, and I saw the other coach that used to be in Portland, Nate McMillan. He's on the short list. I saw Woj drop earlier. Nate McMillan is on the list of coaches. I don't like any of those options, but out of all options, Doc, stay on ESPN and work with your son, man.
let me give y'all some tips that I seen on threads earlier. One person wrote in effect, he said Doc Rivers is 16-33 in the playoffs when the team he coaches has three wins. And then there's another one that says, by Bone Storm, Doc has lost an NBA record 32 closeout games, an NBA record 10 Game 7 games, and an NBA record 7 series when leading 3-2, and NBA record 12 series when holding a series lead.
Mm.
He's not the coach for this team at all.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you really respond to that. So I got a couple of thoughts. Like, it's so wild to fire a coach in the middle of the season. Normally, you just see them give somebody the interim tag and then they ride it out, right? So it's so rare to see a team fire their head coach and try to bring somebody in mid-season. But I think it speaks to the window, right? Like, Dame's 32, 33, Middleton's 30 in his early to mid 30s or early 30s. Giannis is still in his 20s, but he's got a lot of mileage, right? So, and then Brook Lopez is like 36. So the window for the team isn't really big enough where you can afford to say, all right, we're just going to let Prunty, do what, see what he can do for the rest of the year, and then maybe we'll reassess in the offseason. So I think that's why there's been that sort of sense of urgency, if everything being reported is true, to bring in like a Doc Rivers or a Nate McMillan or somebody who's got experience, sort of like a A-list or B-list type head coach. It's still crazy that they felt like they had to do that mid-season. But yeah, on the Doc Rivers stuff, like the 16-33 stat is just wild. Like, I looked up a stat, I guess, that kind of speaks to that. So if you think about it, when he was in Orlando, 2003, the famous Tracy McGrady, it's going to feel good to get out the first round, right? Up 3-1, lose to the Pistons. 2015, Clips versus Rockets, the world famous James Harden pouting, I think game 6 or game 7 or whatever, when the team came back and won, I think game 6 without him. 2020, Clips versus Nuggets. 2009 had a 3-2 lead versus the Magic in the second round. 2010 against the I think the Lakers in the finals, I think they were up 3-2, and then 2012 against the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals, they ended up losing. So talking about like just not being able to get it done. And I posed the question, like, has any head coach gotten more mileage out of one championship than Doc Rivers? Because he got the one with the Celtics, which was great. That team was all time, right? Think about KG, PG, and Pierce. KG, not PG, excuse me, KG, Pierce, and Ray Allen, and then Rondo. But outside of that, like, there's just been a lot of disappointment. So I'm just curious what led them to think like Doc Rivers is our head target, because everything I've seen is that he's had a hard time winning the big one without those 3 Hall of Famers sort of toward the end of their primes.
Mm-hmm. It seems a little I posted it. I need Olivia Pope. I need all my investigative reporters to get the details on this, because like you said, it just seems a little fishy. Like, I had this in mind. Doc Rivers suddenly over the last month is supposed to be mentoring Adrian Griffin and helping him become a better coach. And then meanwhile, this is the one that's taking over your job like immediately.
Yeah.
Sound a little fishy. It sound a little suspect to me. And hey, I never want to say I don't want a black man to get a job, but out of all black men that don't need to get a job, I have to say it's Doc Rivers.
Yeah. Also, I seen a report from Mark Stein saying Giannis didn't want Nick Nurse. So the Bucks wanted to hire Nick Nurse before, but Giannis was saying no, he doesn't want to play with him. He wants to play with someone for someone different than Nick Nurse. Maybe because the Raptors used to beat them in the playoffs all the time.
Yeah.
And maybe he felt like, I can't play with a coach that used to beat me. I need to beat him.
Well, that's how Giannis' mindset is. Giannis don't even want to work out with Giannis wouldn't do this. Yeah. Giannis wouldn't do a collab 3-person episode. That's how Giannis is. Like, Giannis didn't even really have nothing to say to Drew Holiday when they played the Celtics the first time. Like, that's just how Giannis is built. That's why I think that. But shout out to them for listening to their star. I mean,
yeah. How do you guys think it looks on Giannis though? Right, like Adrian Griffin was supposedly his hire. Doc Rivers, I imagine if the Bucks really wanted to, probably could have been had last offseason. How do you think that shines upon Giannis, the fact that the guy he signed off on is the same guy that he allegedly is signing off on, kind of kicking out the door?
I'll let you start off on that one, Jared.
I mean, honestly, it looks bad because, at the same time, you're not riding with your guy that you picked.
Yeah.
You signed off for this guy to be the leader of your team. You made it very vocal in the offseason that you wouldn't re-sign unless the team puts the right players, right coach around him. And this is who you wanted initially. And now all of a sudden you turn your back on him. And then, to me, it goes back to like the whole Jason Kidd situation with him, because he said he's disappointed that Jason Kidd got fired, but it's like, why didn't you vouch for him when the time came? I'm pretty sure the team went to you, talked to you about, do you want to keep Jason Kidd or not? But then the report came out that Giannis said he didn't want Jason Kidd to be fired. So it's like, what is it? Like, if you're going to be the team leader, be vocal about it and voice your opinions to the front office, no matter what.
That's funny you mentioned the Jason Kidd situation, because what I viewed this offseason for Giannis is like he finally woke up and realized that I'm the man here. This is my team. Yeah. And he embraced that this summer. Back then, if he embraced that, because, I mean, you got to remember Giannis' story. The man and his brothers, homeless, going through all of that. So he started off kind of like that same Steph thing, just super humble, super, I'm just happy to be here. And it was like this summer, he was like, nah, forget happy to be here. I'm trying to be one of the greats. And one of the greats means multiple rings. And how I'm going to get multiple rings? I have to have the best situation around me. It's very, I kind of like it. Yeah. It sucks that Adrian Griffin got to go, but being in the era of me being a Lakers fan and seeing Kobe and LeBron, this is my legacy at stake here.
All right.
So Adrian Griffin, as much as I vouched for you, I thought you could do your job. We're not married. I don't have to make this work. I got into a relationship with you. We're in the dating stage. Yo, you're not who I thought you was. Your Tinder looked way different. And now that I met you in person, you can't do everything that you promised that you was going to do. So we got to cut ties.
Let me ask you something about that, though. Because it's like, all right.
Cut ties, but you're going to still be paid handsomely. Yeah. The Bucks, I never feel bad for any team, any ownership ever in any situation, even if they lose their job and, this happens and they had to sell the team. I never feel bad for them. They're paying 3 coaches. They still paying Bud. They about to keep paying Griffin, who has a multi-year contract, $4 million a year. And then they going to bring in old Doc Rivers, who he not getting no cheap contract. It's not no $2 million. He's going to get at least around $8 to $10 million a year.
Yeah.
No, I don't feel bad for the owners. And shout out to you, Giannis. Own your stuff. And Dame, forget Giannis in this instance. Dame, to Rush's point, that window is like this. Dame don't have a ring. He don't have a ring, and he's only there to get a ring. He doesn't really want to be in Milwaukee. I mean, no disrespect, Freak Tom. He don't want to be in Milwaukee. You saw Scary Terry wanted to get to Miami. Everybody want to get. He wanted. That's where Dame wanted to get to. He wanted to get to Miami. I'll settle for this with Giannis. Cool. We'll pull out an old video where I said I'd like to play with him, doctor it, make it seem like this was all a part of the plan. Cool, great. But like you said, the window is mad short. And Middleton he's younger than all of them, but with all those injuries, he might as well be 42, 43.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this about that, what you said, Tone. Basically, with the team currently structured, was Adrian Griffin even dealt a good hand? It's no like real defenders on that team other than probably Giannis and Brook Lopez, but they're inside defenders. Their Achilles heels has been defense the whole time. You have nobody on that roster who's going to be like an anchor for the defense on the perimeter. So was Adrian Griffin really like kind of slighted, kind of seen as a scapegoat? In my opinion, I think so, because kind of just threw him under the bus and everything. They just try to use him as a guy who's like, all right, the coach is not that good. We got to make a change when the roster might not just be that good.
I agree on that aspect that, the GM and the assistant GM, they was watching his practices, but y'all constructed this roster. Me and Rush know very well. Y'all signed Beasley thinking he was a 3-and-D, but the D aspect ain't been there. We saw in LA. The D aspect hasn't been there ever. Somehow
3-and-D isn't disappointing for sure.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. That exactly exemplifies what that is. And we didn't, as Lakers fans, we didn't get to see the 3.
No.
They're seeing the 3 in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know if he likes to be in colder temperatures. Maybe it was the whole situation that Larsa Pimpin might come to a game. I don't know what it was, but he wasn't knocking down any threes over there in LA. Playing with LeBron, that might have clammed up. Who knows? I'm not one to say that I'm a sports psychologist and can get into their brains, but didn't make no sense. To your point, we said this, each one of us on our own personal platforms. When they got rid of Drew Holiday, the on the ball attack defense was going to be an issue. But again, in every aspect of life, it's a CYA business. I'm the GM. I set this team up. I'm not falling for this.
Yeah, I think if you look at the Bucks, I feel like if you look at their roster 1 through 8, they probably have the most significant drop off after your third best player, I think, of any contending team in the league, right? Like, or you thought, all right, go ahead, throw, Brook Lopez in there. After Bobby Portis, on the bench, I mean, you got Connaughton who can play well, whose form, I think, is way better than his actual shooting percentage. I feel like he should shoot way better than he actually does based on his form. It's like beautiful. Like it needs to be in an instructional video somewhere. Like show little kids Pat Connaughton's form. It's a work of art, but I just feel like the shooting percentage don't match up. But I mean, outside of Bobby, I mean, you're really hoping that you get a great night at home from the role players because they tend to play better at home. Jay Crowder's not really what we're used to seeing him be, and he's been hurt. So I mean, depth has just been an issue for them. And when you compound that with the fact that they're already challenged defensively, you're asking for Herculean efforts every night from Dame, Giannis, and Middleton. So I think that's why you see Giannis sits and they get blown out by Cleveland. and I believe Mobley's still out, right? And Garland's still out, right? So you're getting smoked. You're getting smoked by Cleveland. Granted, they were at home, but still, no Mobley, no Garland. Granted, you're down Giannis, but you still got Middleton and you got Dame, a top 75 all-time player, and you're getting smoked by 40. Like, I don't know how you solve for that. Like maybe Doc. I mean, Doc is a good coach, right? Great maybe or is probably arguable, but sometimes a good coach can get guys to dig down deep and be better, and some of it's scheme. But I think at the end of the day, it's a talent thing. So I don't know how you compensate for the lack of ability on the defense. I mean, I don't know that that's something that coaching change can fix. To your point, Jared, I think they're just going to have to outscore people, right? Like they've got the second best offense per 100 possessions in the league. So hopefully they can outscore people. But if you get into an old fashioned scrap fest, I don't know that they'll be able to stop people consistently. I just don't think the personnel is there. And then how do you improve it? Because you don't have the pieces that people want. So I don't know. They might have to get lucky on the buyout market.
11-9 away to your point right there. And like you said, they got smoked, but they not doing a lot of smoking. Like that was another thing. Like after the meeting that Jared mentioned that he had with the players, you would think it turned out well because it was a 7-game winning streak after that. But all of those games had like a win margin between 3 to 4 points. Yeah. So to what Rush just said, it's been Herculean effort. You got to have Dame leaning in midair to the left.
Half court.
Half court, 3-pointer. Yes, we all know. Oh, Dame time. Yeah, we weren't expecting a lot of Dame time happening with him and Giannis. And like Rush said, beginning of the season, you would think that's going to be one of the craziest two-man combos right there. That pick and roll, oh my gosh, you can't drop on that because then Giannis going to get it. You got to make sure you hedge over because Dame could shoot from the parking lot. And we ain't seen none of that.
Yeah. I think they need to run more pick and roll, but also I honestly don't know because I've been watching the games and it seems like at times they figured it out, but there's other times like where are they in, like what are they trying to accomplish with some of these plays. So I'm not too sure like how like they could fix it.
Hey, by the way, though, if y'all end up watching this, Coach, GM, Milwaukee Nation, Buck Nation, Fear the Deer Nation, I'll gladly take a 10-day. Right. I'll take a 10-day. I got no problem. I'll play defense. I'll pick up full court. I'll be a shorter version of Drew Holiday for y'all.
You boxing one.
I could do that for them. Cause like Rush said, ain't nothing out there to get really.
Yeah.
Except me, I'll take a 10-day. You give me 200,000, I'm good. I know how to flip that.
Next thing we should touch on was the Terry Rozier trade. What did y'all think about that initially?
I'll let Rush start with that one because BBL Lowry is in his city now.
Yeah, he might be passing through though. He might just be connecting. Yeah, so I missed this, right? Like I was in the middle. It was middle of the day, right? I think when it dropped, or late morning, early afternoon. So I was thinking in work. So I happened to look at my phone, and then I'm like, oh snap! Like he got traded, and I hadn't heard. I figured that he might get moved, Terry Rozier, just because they got Brandon Miller coming up, and I don't know that he really fits anymore with what they're doing long term, as far as the Hornets are concerned. And I just don't really like, personally, this is a personal thing. I don't know if this is how the Hornets think. I don't really like small guards a lot. Like I just don't, for some reason, or at least small scoring guards, at least. I guess I'm like Becky Hammond. I don't know. But anyways, so I was shocked because I didn't know that was something that was going to happen. Like, it was like a true Woj bomb, but I really like it. If you think of the prototypical Miami player, Terry Rozier fits right into it. Tough, got the dog in him. Like, he'll get up in you. He's not scared of any moment. And I think if you look at the Heat, probably one of their weakest positions on the team is point guard, because Lowry's just not. He's not the Lowry that got helped get Toronto a championship a few years ago. He's just not. BBL too heavy, maybe. I don't know what's going on, but he's just not performing like like we're used to. So I love the trade. I love it for Miami. I think with Indiana getting Pascal, I think Miami kind of needed to make a move. I love it for them. I think he'll have no problem fitting in. He's shooting. I think he might be at career highs, at least for field goal percentage in 3. And I know he's north of 20 per game. So as much time as like Jimmy and all those guys miss in Miami, you're gonna need somebody who you can kind of depend on night in and night out to be able to go to in big moments. For Charlotte, I see this as them, making room for Nick Smith Jr. and Brandon Miller. Brandon Miller's been balling. I really like Brandon Miller. I think he's got I think he's got star potential written all over him. But Terry Rozier was just be kind of hard for them to get the minutes they need in a lost season with Terry Rozier there. So I think it was a good move for him and a good move for the organization, because now they can really see what they got in Brandon Miller and Nick Smith Jr.
You being in Charlotte too, right? I've read some different reports and rumors. The next person they got to move, and it's probably get moved, is Gordon Hayward, right?
I don't know. I hope so. That's no shade to Gordon, right? But I mean, he just hasn't. He's not available, right? They say the best ability is availability. He's always hurt. We didn't get. I think we might have gotten like one really good season, like time spent out of Gordon Hayward. And granted, there's like some mentoring things and being able to show guys things who are coming into the league and help, nurture and develop. But I hope they're able to move him. I think this is his last year anyway of his contract, so he's off the books no matter what. But yeah, I think moving him would make sense along with moving Rozier, just so you open up more time on the wing for some of the young guys you have, because the season's lost and you don't really need to be paying the kind of money you're paying him for him to be on the roster and just kind of taking up space. So I hope so. I mean, I've seen a flurry of things like Miles Bridges and Nick Richards. Teams having interest in them too. So it'll be interesting to see what the Hornets do. They're going to have a good draft pick this year. So right now it's all about developing, sort of laying that groundwork to try to be better in a couple of years, I think.
I agree. I think starting with Charlotte, before I even talk about the Heat aspect, I feel that Charlotte needs to blow the whole thing up. You got LaMelo, you got Brandon Miller, who I believe is going to be a star as long as he stay away from the guns. He's going to be a star. Brandon, if you're watching this, learn from John Morant. You don't need to give it to no other teammates. You don't have to do that. You might not have a favorable decision in court if it happens again. So long as he stay away from the guns, he's been on a tear over the last month, averaging around 18, 19 points a game. He just recently dropped 27. You got Paul George in the comments. That's when they play Clippers, like, yo, we're going to have to double him next time. Nah, I got him one-on-one. So the talent is there. The players see it. I think you keep LaMelo, you keep Brandon Miller, fill in whatever you want to fill in, and then blow up the rest of it. The Charlotte Hornets haven't been run well. Jordan, I don't know, as much as we love MJ, as an owner and the type of jeans he was wearing, those two things just wasn't working out. The Charlotte Hornets, and Dave is in the city, the Charlotte Hornets ended up being like the Dallas Cowboys in a sense. If you had a jail record, if you got in trouble criminally, come on, we'll bring you over here. And matter of fact, we'll keep you. Yeah. We need that toughness. Stay here. We want you to stay here. And it was basically being ran by the players. This is a prison being ran by the inmates. I love what they're doing. Rebuild it. You know who you have there. That's the stars. LaMelo, Brandon Miller. Everybody else, Miles Bridges, Nick Richards can go. Miles Bridges, super athletic. That's about it.
I like Mark Williams though on that team.
Yeah, Mark is solid, I think. He's made a bit of a leap this year too. I think he's hurt right now, but I think he's got good double career guy potential.
So I like that. And then Miami, I think it's a win. I think they know. One thing I'll say this because everything Rashad was spot on. I don't need to repeat that. Y'all not here for me to repeat everything he just said. Y'all got busy schedules too. So when y'all listen to this, I'm being conscious of that. Y'all got stuff to do. So I'm gonna get straight to it. The part that he didn't say, which I like in it, Jimmy's gonna be out. We know this. Jimmy don't care till after February anyway.
Right.
Bam, in and out here and there sometimes. I like Scary Terry with Tyler Hero. That scoring backcourt, that's what they need. Because Jimmy, as much of a dog he is, Jimmy don't want to be the dog that got to go get the game-winning bucket. We saw it in the playoffs. Man got tired. It was normal. He got tired. If Jimmy could just be a dog and let me take over the last 2-3 minutes, that's the Jimmy we need. So the first 3.5 quarters, Tyler, get busy. Terry Rozier, get busy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, me and Bam gonna close it out. And that's where I think, talk about like the Bucks. That's where it could get scary for the East. Because Miami, that's one of the few teams where you could be like, I don't really care about the regular season.
Right.
They get into the playoffs. That's where it's gonna get scary. Heat culture, you got dogs, and Eric Spoelstra, oh yeah, by the way, is one of the top 2 coaches. And just like him and Ty Lue, when that playoff time come, I'm gonna coach circles around you. Adrian Griffin, you would have lost your job regardless if you had to go against Miami. Because Spo would have had that man stressing. Them waves wouldn't have been there anymore. It would have been a baldy after having to go against Spo for 7 games.
Yeah, I think the whole thing with Miami, I really like what they did. Initially, I said a while ago that Terry Rozier is probably going to have to go somewhere, get out of Charlotte, so he can really thrive somewhere. But as far as Kyle Lowry goes, I think they should try and move him to Phoenix. If he gets a buyout, he should go there. Or if Charlotte ends up granting him a trade to wherever he wants to go, it should be Phoenix. He'd be the perfect fit for that team. What do you guys think about that?
Rush, talk to it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't spend a whole lot of time thinking about Kyle Lowry fits personally, but I think when you talk about Phoenix, considering that they had to move so many of their pieces, obviously they moved Chris Paul. You've got Booker handling the ball a lot. I think their backup guards are Goodwin, Shamet, and I'm not sure who else. So I mean,
Shaman's on Washington.
I'm sorry, Shamet's on Washington. He was involved in the trade, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I can't even name like their other guard after Goodwin. So I think anytime you're talking about you just need somebody to come in, run an offense 15, 18, 20 minutes a night. Yeah, I mean Kyle Lowry, I think that's a tailor suited fit for him this point in his career. And you don't need a whole lot to add around KD, Beal, and Booker based on the way that they've been playing lately, right? Like they've been balling. They look like they figured it out. So it's all about filling in around the margins now with the small pieces that you really need to really add to a championship puzzle. So I think, yeah, guard play is definitely that. So yeah, like Jared, I didn't even think about it where he could go next, but calling Phoenix out, I think that would be a really, really solid fit for him. And I think he could really help them kind of continue to push upward in the standings.
I don't got nothing to add. I think that's the perfect thing. Outside of that, I can't think of nobody. The league is full of top tier point guards, and he's no longer in that conversation. If he wants to come into a team that could have him play 15, 18 minutes off the bench, then cool. The list of teams open up. If he's still trying to start, I don't need 2 charges a game and 3 assists and 0 for 4 from 3-point. Not at my starting point guard. I'll take that off the bench. Like, all right, you a bench player. I don't know what I'm going to get. But, yeah, go ahead. Phoenix, give a call. Y'all still going to have to get somebody else, too, because I hope Matt Ishbia, Isaiah Thomas, who's supposed to be helping consulting with the team, don't think that Kyle Lowry is the end-all, be-all, though. Y'all still got to go get somebody else to play point guard because Rush said it perfectly right. 15, 18, 20 minutes. After that, we watching your minutes. We don't want you to play heavy minutes. And I don't see that happening. So as long as they get somebody else to pair with that, again, I'm going to pitch myself. I could give you 15, 20 minutes, Phoenix. Playing with KD, D-Book, Bradley Beal, and like they've seen to actually kind of figure something out. I know how to stay out the way. I know how to play my role very well. Like Lil Wayne said, I know my role and I play it well.
Oh man. I think that's all we have for today. You guys want to add anything?
Yo, we salute and we still voting for another term for Yo Rush as mayor. It's been a lot. I told my wife, man, It's been a lot on your plate. The smear campaigns and everything. It's been tough.
The
It was
Pedialyte,
it was
Pedialyte gate.
tacos. It was Bachelor. It's been a lot on your plate. So even though I threw a little dig out there because you can't say Taco Tuesday outside of that. When I literally every day that I've closed the app today and opened it up and refreshed the feed, and it was another thing about tacos, I was like, dang, we're not gonna do that. He's still the mayor.
I appreciate that. I guess I'll take this opportunity to try to speak on Taco Gate, I guess they're calling it. I just want to advise everybody, if anybody who's single out there, who's a little older in life, they feel like, they want to settle down, they want to, they really want to start building a family. Obviously that starts with a spouse, a partner, right? So you really want to make sure that any partner you commit to is not going to stab you in the back one day on social media and tell the whole world that you hate tacos, which slightly out of context, by the way. So I don't hate tacos. I don't hate anything. I'm a Christian man, you know what I'm saying? Don endorsed Russian raised a strong Christian man with Christian values. I don't hate nobody. But I do feel like tacos are a little overrated. And really, everybody's reaction is kind of proving my point. People are just wildly outrageous about tacos. I don't even think they know why. They just, oh my gosh, somebody doesn't like something that I adore for some reason. I don't know. It's salad on a tortilla. It's basically all it is to me. It's salad on a tortilla. If that gets you excited, that gets your rocks off, go for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have absolutely no hate in my heart for you. But man, when I tell you, I was so shocked. Again, I was working today. I was deep in the laptop. I opened my phone up and it's just like mention. And then I look at this tacos. And I'm like, where did all this come from? And then of course I see it was my wife who put out a little thread talking about Rio Rush hates tacos. And then that was it. She yelled fire in a crowded room and then she bounced out the side door. So I do not hate tacos. I've eaten tacos. My wife makes tacos every once in a while. I've eaten tacos. I just feel like they're slightly overrated, and nobody can change my mind about it. But if people need to defend their love by flaming me, and people been on my neck, like Jamar went into Photoshop and made it seem like I put a post on Reddit 2 years ago.
I see that.
Like, I don't know what it is about me that gets people riled up, but hey, I have at it. I guess that's my own fault. But it's been fun, man. I've been laughing at a lot of. I haven't been able to because there's so much. I haven't been able to respond to everything, but there's been a lot of silly stuff I've seen, which really underscores how creative people are in NBA threads. So it's all love. I get it. I know nobody's being ill. At least I hope not. But yeah, it's been a wild day. And then of course everybody found out that I like The Bachelor. Me and my wife, that's our guilty pleasure. That's our messy time when we watch The Bachelor.
Hey, to this point, I said the same thing. I showed some of the stuff because my wife she's not with the social media energy like that, really.
Yeah.
I showed her some of the stuff. She's like, yo, they got a lot of time on their hands. I was like, they super creative. Yes, they are super creative. Mm-hmm. And to the point, being that I'm a married man also, I'm going to speak to this too. For those talking about what him and his wife do for The Bachelor, if that's their thing, that's their bag, that's their bag. All right? So a lot of y'all that was commenting on his Bachelor choice with his wife, y'all single. So when you get married, if y'all got a thing, if it's watching Food Network shows, y'all do y'all thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
we do that too.
Oh,
I have some quality time with your lady,
Yeah.
I don't always.
Yeah, I don't appreciate the cooking process. I just enjoy good food. So if it inspires her, I'll sit on the couch and watch it with her. That's how.
Oh,
that's
wait,
how I see
it. Did y'all hear that? I know we was talking about basketball. He dropping this is some doctor drop gems right here. I don't really like the cooking process, but my wife be into it, so I hop on the couch and I'll watch it with her. Lessons What's that show? That movie back in the day? Don't drink juice while you in the hood.
Message. Yeah, it's been a rough couple weeks for me with the Pedialyte scandal and Bachelor Gate and Taco Gate. I'm hoping that, now that everybody sees me for who I really am, I guess they see the whole picture of me, they can come to accept me as I am, and we can just move forward with some good old fashioned basketball, love for NBA basketball. But I mean, like I said, a lot of the stuff is hilarious. And I've been whenever I've gotten a chance to look at it today, man, I've been laughing so hard. NBA Threads is great. For anybody who's not part of NBA Threads who might come across this, get on Threads, make an account, make sure you got a profile picture because we won't acknowledge you if you don't. But and then jump into NBA Threads. It's the best place on the internet to talk hoops. And
you heard the man. You heard the man.
Hop on now. Don't hop on the bandwagon later. It's a fast train going right now. NBA Threads is where it's at. And I'll say this, and we could close it out. NBA Threads, for me, is what I pray for in regards to a community of support. That's literally what I pray for. Like, I'm always supporting people. I don't see it like reiterate. I'm like, God, like, it's just that many terrible people in the world. Like, I give out love just to give out love, but it don't be coming back. You're gonna get that NBA Threads.
Yeah.
You're gonna get the love, the support, the community, people talking to you, everything. Education, inspiration, comedy, all in NBA Threads, man. So join NBA Threads, and that's coming from the mayor.
Mm-hmm. That's how this podcast came out, through NBA Threads, just community and just everybody linking up, showing each other love. The perfect social media.
Closing it out, make sure y'all go follow, subscribe, share, like, leave a 5-star rating on the Stop and Pop. Make sure you check it out. Make sure you share it. And again, like I always say, you could share it with your uncle, your cousin, your dog. Share it with your baby moms, even if you're not talking. It's great content. Share it with them. David A. Russian, a.k.a. Yo Rush, a.k.a. the mayor. Make sure, like he said, I don't have my own NBA podcast. He has a podcast, though, Rush Vibes. I think it's every week, right? Every week?
Ish.
Either way.
Ish, yeah.
Check out
Usually.
Rush Vibes. Same energy. Follow, subscribe, share, rate, review. And why are we asking you to do that? We asking you to do that because the algorithm sometimes is a little slow. The algorithm sometimes be on the yellow short bus. It's okay. We have to educate the algorithm sometimes. And how do we educate the algorithm? Sharing, commenting, liking, reposting. That's how we educate the algorithm to get this great content out to the masses. Y'all know, Bench Mob ENT, same energy. I'll close it out how I close it out always, which is something that we all live by. If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. We out. Peace.